Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Into the Pit. And I have here Mr. Mike Familant. Did I get it right?
You did, sir. How's it going?
We, oh man, going great. Man, I must be headed towards doing Bigfoot investigations because it's just seems to be. That's all the subjects that I'm getting lately.
Hey,
It's about cryptids.
it's an addiction. The more you get into it, the crazier it gets. Let me tell you.
So let me ask your opinion about something before we kick this off.
Sure.
I have a buddy of mine that's his niche. He just does cryptids, and of course, Bigfoot's his biggest one. And he came to visit here. He was going home. He caught something on his dash cam.
Hmm.
Now, personally, I thought it was a ghost the way it looked, but I mean, if you see it, it's huge. It's see-through,
Hmm.
but you can tell there's arms and everything. Do you think that they have that ability to go stealth like that?
No, you see, I think they're a biological creature. I think they're just like a bear or a squirrel or what have you.
Okay. Well, I just, it's interesting. Maybe it is a ghost. You just
Yeah.
have to see it. It's
Yeah, I mean, and I always challenge everybody, even though like there are a bunch of people that do think Bigfoot could be interdimensional and whatnot, and I always would challenge everybody to, if you have that piece of evidence that'll change my mind, let me see it. And no one has been able to prove that. But if you say you have a video, I would love to take a look at it at some point.
I'm going to email it to you.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
But man, tell me a little bit more about you.
Well, so I am 33. I do Bigfoot research full time. Let's see. Started in 2000 and what was it? 2011 in Florida was my first little encounter with Bigfoot, and we were camping in the middle of North Florida, and we hear a tree knock from one side of the forest and one side of camp, and then we hear a tree knock from the other side of camp, and we were out with some Bigfoot people. So I figured, oh, this must be, they're putting on a show for us or whatever. They're kind of messing with us. And then we got a rock thrown at us. It was like a fist-sized kind of rock. And then over the course of the next like 15 minutes, like four more of these rocks came and landed like 5 to 10 feet from us. And then my buddy who was camping with me, he threw one of these rocks back in the direction that this thing came from, that these rocks were coming from.
Mhm.
And I knew it wasn't a person because like a laptop sized boulder came crashing through the trees and landed like 5 feet from us.
What?
Yeah. So that kind of got me into the whole, what could this be? And I kind of landed on, it's got to be Bigfoot.
Wow. This was on flat ground? There was no hills there or nothing?
No, we were actually we were on the little hill. There was the rocks came from like it would be below us. So we were on like elevation wise, it would have been below us. So it really had to get some trajectory coming up through the trees. It's crazy.
That might have deterred me from going back out there. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and that was my first time ever camping. So go figure, right?
Well, it got you motivated, didn't it?
Hey, yeah, that was what 10 years ago, 11 years ago now. So, and it's led me down this amazing road. I wouldn't change it for the world, man.
So, and you did a documentary.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's called In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. I basically got tired of all the TV shows on Bigfoot, and because they're all done for their production value and ratings and stuff. Totally get it, but I'm not. I kind of wanted to make a show to show people what Bigfooting is really about and how it really is. So I made the show In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, and we're currently releasing season 6 right now and filming season 7. So it's been yeah, it's been fun. We go all over the country. Yep.
Yeah. See, that's a double-edged sword when it comes to those TV shows. One, I watch to get a laugh,
Hmm.
be entertained, but at the same time, it's just like, I go out and I investigate ghosts.
Mhm.
And when you have a show where you can tell that it's fake, then it hurts the cause,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I got to give the shows props though, because that's the reason why I got into it in the first place, was watching these shows. So I can't say anything bad, to about them at all.
Yeah. Well, then that's what I'm saying though. It's kind of a double-edged
Yeah.
sword, because I mean we know the reason why it's done, and there's real stuff in there, but you've got your naysayers who's just saying this, see, it's just a big joke. Look what they're
Yeah.
doing. It's just being joke. One of our favorites is was it mountain monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys crack me up, and
Yeah.
I think you're out there and you're telling everybody while you're investigating, oh, be quiet, we're going, but then in between, when they do their little descriptions or whatever, they're always yelling.
Mm. Yeah.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah. I love some of the shows they actually play music over supposed like audio evidence. That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Why do they do that?
Yeah, you got me.
I'm trying real hard to listen. I already have a problem hearing as it is, and you're gonna play music. Jeez. So tell me about your documentary.
So we go all over the country, mostly stick to the East Coast because I'm based out of New Jersey.
Mhm.
And we go to hot spots around the country, and we go to and camp in these areas, and kind of like Finding Bigfoot does. We try to find witnesses from that area, and we'll camp in the area and do some night hikes, day hikes, night investigations, and try to get some evidence of Bigfoot.
Well, I noticed that there are some of the investigators that used to be on television that they have switched over to doing YouTube,
Mm,
because they want to keep, the production value to more serious, I guess you say, without all the
absolutely.
Hollywood put into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like
Yep.
you, I get kind of tired of that, all the garbage that you see on TV. I want real,
You want
I don't
content.
I don't
Yeah.
want you editing everything out. I want to see it all. I
Right.
mean, I know you got to edit it down. You want to
Mhm.
get rid of some of the garbage that there's nothing going on, but you don't. It's like some of the. I don't want to mention the shows, but you know that somebody is like hitting the wall or throwing
Mm,
something in the
yeah.
background just to get the evidence. But
Right.
and if you get real stuff, that's what I want to see.
Yeah. And I kind of take that to heart, because like there's times, and this is very true with Bigfoot evidence or Bigfoot investigations, is that we go out and we don't get anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the nature of the beast. That's Bigfooting. The basics of Bigfooting is you're not going to find a Bigfoot every single time. So on some of these episodes that we don't get anything, it's just me making fun of myself for like a half hour. So
Perfect though. That's
yeah.
perfect, because anybody that does this seriously, whether it's Bigfoot or it's ghosts or UFOs, you're going to go 99% of the time, you're not really getting a whole lot, if you get anything at all.
Absolutely.
You, there's that one time you'll go out though, and you'll get some really cool evidence. And so, my content that you see on my channel, I don't have a whole lot of evidence on there, and the evidence that I do, I really put it there as, hey, if you can explain this to me, please do, because I can't explain it.
Sure.
So I guess that's how you kind of approach what you do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's I don't release any evidence that isn't already vetted by myself and a bunch of other investigators and experts, really. I know, like the audio evidence I send away to a linguist from the military who does bigfooting on the side, so he's very analytical and professional when it comes to his analysis of those kind of things. So it's not like I'm willy-nilly just putting a barred out call and saying that it's a Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
These are what the evidence that I do display is kind of legitimized by other people too.
What's your thoughts on, and let me kind of go back a little bit to explain, but I was watching Finding Bigfoot, and there was an area that were getting a lot of sightings and whatnot going on. And all of a sudden, the government came in and bought up all the land, and then forbade people from coming onto the property. Um, have you found that to be true, or do you know anything about it? I mean, what do you know?
Uh, yeah, and then now that's getting into more like government conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And I generally, when I do the talks and podcasts and stuff, I try not to get into that because that rustles a lot of feathers in the field.
Right.
Um, what I can say is that there have been a bunch of really legitimized stories of and witnesses and sightings of, you know, with the government involvement when it comes to Bigfoots. So are they all, you know, is it a big cover up? I don't know. Who, you know, I don't know. That's something again I try not to try not to get into.
Yeah, it's difficult to not go down that rabbit hole.
It
But
is. It certainly is.
I mean, it's curious though. I mean, maybe they know something that we don't, and maybe they are trying to keep us from finding out. I had someone talk to me about that, and they were saying that they felt like it was going to hurt the tourism in that area, so
Hmm.
that's why they were trying to, like, I guess, denying that there was anything out there, and that they were blocking off certain areas for me going in because there was so much evidence. They didn't want to scare nobody off.
Right, right. And it's interesting because in other parts of the country, you have people that take Bigfoot. It's kind of like Bigfoot tourism, if you will, where you have like Whitehall, New York, and you have areas in. I was just down in Sutton, West Virginia. Their income for their town is based on Bigfoot.
Oh wow.
Um, so that's pretty cool. I know, like Whitehall, for example, Whitehall, New York has even has a law stating that it's illegal to harass the Bigfoot there. But they every year they have a Bigfoot calling festival, and it brings in thousands and thousands of people from all over. So I think, you know, if I was you know, in any sort of government position, I'd say bring the Bigfoot here. I mean, that's going to get more people to come in and check us out.
Yeah. Well, there's nuts like us that'll go out there and
Yeah.
look anyway. So I'm gonna get your theory on Bigfoot.
Yeah, so I think it is like a Neanderthal. I think it's an ancient human, like Denisovine is kind of the term, or a Gigantopithecus type creature, which is an ancient human that lived alongside of modern day humans years and years and years ago. And it's I would find it not beyond a reasonable doubt that it could have lived alongside of and migrated along with us to evolve to where we are today, except kind of take a different route and not come down our path, but to kind of take their own.
And I don't want to get too deep into this, but there seems like there's some kind of conflict with the different groups that are researching it. So it's some kind of drama that goes on because you've
Mm,
got people that believe like you, and the other people that believe this is interdimensional.
sure.
I've also noticed though that it seems like there's a lot of paranormal activity and UFO activity where there's a lot of Bigfoot activity. What's the correlation?
Sure. Yeah, um you made a good point, and it unfortunately it hurts the research aspect of Bigfooting when you have this division of philosophies, if you will, because when you have a division of anything, that hurts the root cause of trying to get to the bottom of whatever we're trying to get to the bottom of, finding out what this
Exactly.
thing is.
Mhm.
Um, but you also said something too. I forget what the second point. What were you saying about the second point you were
But
making?
there's a lot of paranormal activity and
Oh,
UFO sightings
yeah.
where you find a lot of Bigfoot sightings.
See, I've encountered that twice, and I've been out in the field a lot. And you know, I'm no stranger to camping and being outside, especially at night and stuff. And I love the night sky, so I'm always looking up. Um, and I've seen I can correlate one Bigfoot sighting and a UFO sighting not a sighting, a Bigfoot encounter, a Bigfoot vocalization, and that was preceded by a UFO sighting that was witnessed by like 6 people and myself. And then we got a really good vocalization. And you may, people may think I'm crazy, but that's not enough for me to correlate the two.
I've just heard a lot of stories about that lately. Like
Yeah.
they'll see a lot of ghosts, especially orbs.
Orbs. Yep, absolutely.
So why are there orbs out there when there's a Bigfoot out there? I guess there's just no understanding why.
Yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I've not seen the orb phenomenon when I'm out. I have. I think looking back at it, it probably was just like a star, low hanging star through the trees. But I've not really experienced a good solid orb sighting, so I can't correlate the Bigfoot sightings with that. But again, just like the government, cover-ups and whatever, there are very legitimate people who have seen both of them and have sightings of both of them and swear that they're correlated together. Now, me being that a Bigfoot is biological creature, that's hard for me to correlate the two. You know what I mean? But I could easily, if you have a different philosophy and say that Bigfoot could be of a different realm than humans, then yeah, I could definitely correlate those. Both the UFO sightings or the UFO sightings and the orbs.
Well, I'm really green when it comes to this subject. I haven't even gone on my first real investigation yet.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm learning from everyone around me, but I do have a few of my own theories. One, I don't know, I've kind of leaned a little bit more to maybe interdimensional, but I also think that, being that the Native Americans very spiritual, and there are certain areas that just have more energy than other areas, and maybe the Bigfoot is attracted to that energy, and it just so happens you're going to get ghost activity in high energy areas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why UFOs are coming around.
Sure.
Maybe that's the correlation between all of it. It's just a guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I like the fact that you brought up the Native Americans, because most every Native American tribe in North America has the story of a Bigfoot type creature.
Exactly.
But what's cool about it is they don't put them on the different realm of there's a story of the beaver, and then you have the story of the eagle, and then the chipmunk, and then the Bigfoot, and then the squirrel, and it's all on the same level. It's not as mythical creature as some stories in Native American tales have. It's mostly related to actual physical sightings and creatures as just the normal anything else in the woods. And I think if anybody were to know what a Bigfoot would be, I think it would be the Native Americans, because they've been, in the woods quite some time.
To them, it would just be another part of nature. It wouldn't
Sure.
be anything, like you said, mythical. Oh my God, that's just another tribe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's cool because you can even dive down into it a little bit deeper and look into every Native American tribe and tale, and mostly like the Bigfoot is the keepers of the forest, the peaceful keepers of the forest, if you will, which is cool, and these Native American tribes, they had no way of communicating with each other. So for them to all have a story that is of a 7 foot, 8 foot tall creature that roams the forest and is the keeper of the forest, I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I have a guy on that was telling me about, he had a friend who was part of a tribe and took him to a certain area, and he knew where these Bigfoot were hanging out. And he was talking about how they were just standing in this one spot. And the guy said something in his native language, and almost immediately, just 2 red eyes showed up, and that's all you could see. He said you could not see anything. It's almost like an outline of a body, but
Yeah.
mostly all you saw were the eyes.
Hmm.
And I thought, wow. And I've heard people say that they think the fur has some kind of translucence to it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. They're doing experiments to see how that might work. Do you think they're just so great at being stealth that they just hide,
Yeah,
or
I
do you
mean,
think
I
what do
think
you?
they're super intelligent, kind of almost to our level. I think they're intelligent enough to be able to communicate with each other, but not intelligent enough to have fire. So to be able to make fire. So that kind of level, if you will. So if you put a creature like that into the woods and you tell it to hide, or it somehow knows to hide from people, if it is ingrained in its upbringing, or what have you, just like other animals, they shy away from humans.
Mhm.
um I think that's easily, with the limited population that Bigfoot have. I think you would be, it is like finding a needle in a stack of needles. So yeah, I think you do have intelligence and you have the lack of population, so it's very difficult to find them. Absolutely.
So I heard or actually read this story where there's this guy out east that he's going on this Bigfoot hunt, and he's bound and determined he's going to go shoot one.
Mm,
Now, my opinion is, why would you want to go kill one? And if you did, and they somehow is determined this is just another form of a human, that'd be murder.
sure.
But it's no wonder Bigfoot would not want to be around people if you got that attitude. I'm gonna go out there and kill one.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Um,
wouldn't want to be around people. I don't want to be around people. That's why I go camping all the time.
I don't blame you. I just think that's wrong, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care if you did come back with one and you proved it and everybody this mystery solved. It's just
Yeah.
that's cruel.
The reason, and everybody has their own reasoning for getting into Bigfoot. And, some people it's fame and fortune, and some people, for like myself, I just want to know what threw rocks at me.
Mhm.
And and people ask me, well, what are you going to do when you actually see one? Because I've never seen a Bigfoot, so I don't know. I'm sitting at 70% that they're out there. I don't know for sure, which is
Yeah.
crazy. When I tell people that, but you're a full-time Bigfoot researcher, you don't believe 100% that they're out there. No, because I've never seen one. So for me, it's actually seeing one. Then I could be like, okay, I found out threw those rocks at me in Florida. So is that gonna am I gonna be done with Bigfoot research? I don't know. Or am I gonna is that gonna dive me, more into it, be like, man, now I gotta know everything about these things. So I don't know.
Well, if you're like me, you're just an inquisitive type person. You want to know the answers
Yeah.
to certain things, and I mean
Yeah.
I had experiences with ghosts when I was growing up,
Mhm.
but I couldn't, I didn't know how to explain it. And I've seen some great evidence, and still I have my skepticisms. But yeah,
Yeah.
I grew up watching shows like In Search Of. I don't know if
Right.
you
Of
ever
course.
heard of it, but Leonard Nimoy used to be the host of the show,
Yep.
and we saw the film footage that they took out. What was it, California and the redwoods, or whatever, the
Wolf Creek.
Bigfoot,
Yep. Mhm.
and then I also loved $6 Million Man, and Bigfoot was on there.
Mm.
But I mean, it was just another aspect of the paranormal that I wanted to maybe get my feet wet in.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, we were talking before. Once you get involved in it, it's a very slippery slope, because it's very addicting.
Are you going out to investigate other cryptids, or are you just strictly Bigfoot?
Well, here's the thing. I have been strictly Bigfoot. I did go on one paranormal investigation one time. That was crazy because something happened. Uh, but when it comes to cryptid creatures, I would love to get into some other things, but Bigfoot is just so fascinating to me. I really focus on that. There is a creature up by me in Sussex County and Warren County, New Jersey, called the Mantis Man, and that's something we're gonna be doing a little docu-series on as well in the next year or two, hopefully next year.
So you might get into the New Jersey Devil kind of stuff. And
Oh, well, you see, I think, and it's my unpopular opinion, that the New Jersey Devil is actually a misidentified Bigfoot. Uh, for me, it's because of the sightings of it. You have something that's 7 foot tall that screams and howls in the night and has glowing red eyes. To me, that screams Bigfoot. Um, Also, interestingly enough, there has been no footprints ever found of the Jersey Devil. So it's got to land at some point. I mean, and it's all sand down there. So I mean, I don't know. But we have found Bigfoot prints down there, and there have been a ton of Bigfoot sightings in the Pine Barrens. So I don't know. Like I said, unpopular opinion.
yeah, we had the whole thing about the chupacabra,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that ended up being some kind of hairless dog or something. But
You never know though. That's another thing that is totally possible. That and the I would really love to get into whatchamacallit, the Tasmanian tiger in Tasmania. I would love to get involved in that. It's just I obviously don't have enough money to go over there and, you know, devote my life to research. But
believe me, I know, trying to keep up with all this equipment that comes out and
yeah,
everything, and we don't charge when we do investigations on people's homes.
yeah.
So this comes out of our pocket, and
Yeah.
it's hard to keep
Hey,
up
I
with.
sell Bigfoot keychains and stickers. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
I know that's right. Well, for me, and I know this is the whole conspiracy thing, but the government has come out and admitted that there are UFOs.
Yep.
So are they covering up for Bigfoot? Are they going to say that there are Bigfoots out there? I don't know.
Well,
You know,
and
why couldn't it be possible?
here's the thing. I think if the government were to come on out and on record, and this is a big, if they do know about Bigfoot, and they were to come out and say, okay, guys, here's the thing. We got this 8 foot tall predator that's looming in your backyard. But it's cool. You know, don't worry about it. People would go crazy. Either A, because they're scared of the thing, and people with kids would all, you know, have to move to the cities and, you know, all this, you know, whatever. But you'd also have everybody and their moms trying to shoot one. And that would cause, you know, people, you know, running through the woods in ghillie suits. And guess what? A ghillie suit looks a lot like a Bigfoot. So that would cause really, really a lot of unnecessary deaths, I think. And that's one of the reasons why the government won't come out and say that. With the UAPs and the UFOs, that could definitely cause some mass hysteria. And I'm surprised it didn't. But the way that they kind of released the documents and stuff like that, it was very controlled, if you will.
Yeah, true. Because they still kind of leave it at, well, it may not be an actual spaceship from another planet kind of thing. But
sure,
I don't know, man. I've seen some weird things. I have to see something to really believe it.
Yeah.
We've kind of established our beliefs here. I haven't really focused as much on your show. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about it, because I know somebody's curious out there and they want to watch it.
Yeah, no. So our show's filmed in kind of like an amateur style, and the whole mission statement of why I do what I do and the reason why I make the show is to get friends and families outside and into nature and to see something that they wouldn't normally see sitting on the couch. I told you before, my first camping experience was 10 years ago, when I was 23, 22 years old or something like that. So, 23 years old. So if I could not prevent that, but entice friends and families to kind of go out into nature. And it's not just about looking for Bigfoot. My show is, I like to fish, so you'll see me fishing sometimes. That kind of stuff. I like survival stuff. um, you know, ask me, 12 years ago, and say, hey, what are you going to be, in 12 years, you can make a fire with 2 sticks. I'm going to be like, you need to go to the mental hospital. You're absolutely crazy. Um, but it's designed that way. And it's also filmed in an amateur style to promote these younger generations of Bigfooters to make their own shows and to do their own thing and to branch off and be the next In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, or the next show on TV.
So you take somebody like me along, I'm outside the group.
I would think about it.
My-
Generally, no, in all seriousness, I used to put on public expeditions. Turns out it's a big liability. Go figure. And I don't have that kind of insurance. So I kind of ixnayed on the whole taking people out for a little bit, and then COVID happened, so I was really not taking people out. But it's something I will do. If if the opportunity presents itself, sure.
I guess they have to be a little more serious about it before you
Oh,
take
not
them
at
out.
no, not at all. I wouldn't say serious at all. I think as long as you're interested and passionate about the subject, that's all that really matters to me. I mean, you could be the never have gone out in the woods before. I'd still love to take you out. Absolutely.
Something I want to do. I'm actually going to go with a friend of mine that I told you, he had caught that evidence,
Yeah, neat.
and he's got some cool stuff that he's picked up. I mean, vocalizations and stuff being thrown, and if I take him at his word. I know he's
Sure.
not going to lie to me, so I know he doesn't have somebody just throwing stuff at him.
Yeah.
And when you catch his reaction when it happens, then it's for real.
And generally speaking, if somebody's hoaxing you, they're not going to offer to take you out with
Exactly.
them. So
Exactly.
that's got a green flag on it for it being legitimate, for sure.
And he's been offered the opportunity to do a show. Now they ended up nixing his part of it, and they changed it to somebody else, and they got the show. But
that happens.
I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And
that's very important to some of your listeners who may be interested in getting into Bigfooting, is go out with somebody that to start with. Don't go out with somebody you met on the internet. That's a big thing, because if you think about it, that there's a lot of Facebook groups about Bigfoot, and a lot of people that it's easy to find people that are into the same kind of thing that you're into. And in real life, not on the internet, if you will, it's hard to find people that kind of, I was thankful enough when I first got into Bigfooting. I had gotten 2 tickets instead of 1. I was engaged at the time when I got my Bigfooting tickets, if you will, for the first encounter that I had. And then it's non-refundable. I found out, broke up with the ex-fiance. So I had to bring one of my friends out, and I was like, hey, Jimmy, I worked with him on the ambulance. And I was like, that's how I knew him. And I was like, he was weird. So I was like, he might just be crazy enough to come out with me. I asked him, I was like, hey, Jimmy, you want to go up to North Florida and look for Bigfoot? And he was like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do that. So we're still best friends to this day. But yeah, don't go out with a stranger, and go out with somebody that actually knows what they're doing, and somebody that you trust in the field, that can, like, say you twist your ankle or something like that, or God forbid something happens to one of you, make sure you know that person is capable and willing to depend on them, and them depend on you.
And I'm all for people to follow their passion. If there's something you want to do it. And there's some things that you can just kind of go out and do, and if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. But I feel you have to be a little more cautionary when you go out on these Bigfoot expeditions, simply because you're dealing with nature. Snake bites, counter whatever wild animal. There might be the opportunity you could get hurt if you encountered a Bigfoot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
But
I mean, the things that scare me the most when I go out are ticks, spiders, and snakes. I don't like snakes, and really mosquitoes should be on that list too, because those are the things that are going to make you sick for the longest.
mhm.
If you think about it, a bear, yeah, you're probably not going to get mauled by a bear, and if you do, that's the chances are it's slim to not happening. But I did get a tick-borne illness when I was up in Michigan. I got Rocky Mountain spotted fever,
Mhm.
and let me tell you, it was not fun. So yes, you definitely have to be worried about, especially other people too. I don't like other people, especially when I'm out bigfooting to see come across, because that's like, what are they doing out here? Um, but yeah, you definitely have to worry about everything when it comes to bigfooting, and be prepared for really any situation you could encounter.
I actually just interviewed a lady who was nurse that her main thing she did was treating people with Lyme disease.
Mm,
And then you
that's a
catch that out there too.
nasty, yeah, that's a nasty tick-borne illness. I mean, I've not had Lyme's, but I've known people that have it, and that'll really take you out. So that's something
That's
you got to do the tick checks 100%.
that's a long process. It's not something that they fix overnight. I mean,
No.
some of them have been coming in there for years getting treatment for it.
And then you got the arthritis that comes along with it, and their joints hurting, and oh man, I couldn't. I do the tick checks. It's totally, it's annoying, but it's worth it.
Well, I would definitely make sure you had somebody who knew what they were doing. If you want to do it, I say go for it. But
100%.
just like anything, the ghosts, I've found people who knew what they were doing. I learned from them. Don't go by what you see on television because they don't tell you everything on TV. And you get
Yeah.
used to it. And maybe you have fun. You might be the person that gets that evidence that finally
Well,
says yes.
and that's the thing too, is bring a camera. And if you're
Mhm.
going to go out and do it, make sure you have the you want to get some evidence. If that's what you want to do, then make sure you have the equipment to do it. I mean, I part of Bigfoot investigating is going out at night and trying to get physical evidence of a Bigfoot, meaning, well, not physical, but vocalizations, and trying to have a Bigfoot have like an encounter where you get some on a Bigfoot on film. Um, so part of that is you know just going through and doing what you have to do, the techniques and stuff that you learn, but you have to know, you have to get somebody, like you said, you don't get it from just TV. You got to get it the know-how from an experienced somebody.
That aggravates me to no end when people see the investigators on TV that taunt ghosts.
Mm,
I'm like, don't do that. You wouldn't want
yeah, that's
somebody
kind of
doing that to you.
disrespectful, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
disrespectful.
that's coming from somebody that doesn't know ghosts, and I think that's a little disrespectful.
Yeah. I wouldn't go out there and harass a Bigfoot either.
No,
I
no.
might hit the log against a tree and
Yeah, it's one thing to try to get evidence. It's another thing to. I mean, I know, like in Florida, it's illegal to harass the alligators, and that's, you like poke them with a stick. That's not, it's the same way with Bigfoot. You don't want to poke Bigfoot with a stick, I don't think. But if you want to get some evidence of them, then sure, do a call or two. It's not going to hurt anything.
I definitely wouldn't want to get close enough to poke a
Yeah,
Bigfoot with a stick.
yeah. And I don't know. What do you think you would do if you were that close? What if on your first Bigfoot encounter you had that boom class A at 10 feet away? Like, what would you do? Have you ever thought about that?
Well, actually, I have thought about that, and my approach has always been if I come across something that I don't know, I usually freeze in place
Okay.
and
Yep.
I evaluate the situation. And if I'm not sure, I'm not just going to stick my hand out there. If I found a bear or something, I'm not just going to go, oh, I'm gonna pet you. I wouldn't do that to a raccoon.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I have had raccoons come up to me and get in my lap and want my food, and
Oh, geez.
they'll usually I can give it to them and there's no problem. But you just
No.
don't do that with every raccoon out there, you
Yeah.
know.
No. You're right. Yeah,
So
because one of them's gonna bite you.
exactly, you're gonna get bit. So I'm gonna just stay in there and evaluate, and if I could maybe form some kind of communication, I would try.
Sure.
But beyond that, I don't know what else I could do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think I would freeze, and I have this really it's really unfortunate to be honest. I scream very high pitched, like a 12-year-old female, like that's playing on a playground. Ah. So I would probably do that at some point, and then I know I would evacuate the bowels at some point as well.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably faint. So that's no video evidence, nothing, none of that. That would be way second thought.
I could tell you afterwards, I would definitely have to change my drawers.
Yeah, yep, yep. That's a given.
Incontinence problem. It would be wonderful though if you could try to form some kind of communication. If you were able to be that close, they would have to trust you in some way.
Yeah.
And I've heard people say that they have that sense of whether they can trust you or not, just like maybe a dog or another animal would have.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Animals can sense, I think, the well-naturedness of human beings. Absolutely. I don't know. I think there's a lot of there's some people that go into habituation and having Bigfoot return to their property and forming a bond over time by leaving gifts, and it's called gifting, and leaving food and other trinkets and stuff like that. But that's something that takes time and years to accomplish. And it's not something that I mean, you have to be living in the right place to do that, or have access to really great areas to be able to do that, especially over a long period of time. Fortunately, with our investigations, we can't really do that. But it's I think if you were to have that class A encounter, that right there at 10 feet away, I think it would be a total Bigfoot accident. I think that's going to be the way that we're going to get evidence of Bigfoot is there's going to be, and this may sound a little crazy, but my opinion is we're going to get the best evidence of Bigfoot is when we get a Bigfoot with kind of a developmental or learning disability, because they have to have them just like humans do. They have all the deformities and all the detriments that we have. Is going to be before nature takes care of nature does what nature does to that the individual. I think we're going to be somebody who's hopefully going to be able to get that really solid, hey, this is the best video that we've ever seen. But we'll see. That's to be determined, I suppose.
You never know, man. You never know.
Yeah.
Do you have a set time when you upload your videos?
Usually Sundays. Yeah.
Sundays.
Yep. I was doing every year I would release like a season, and I would do like every week we would have a new episode type of thing. I've gotten kind of away from that because, quite frankly, it's a lot of editing. So what I do is I don't do full episodes anymore. I'll do like day hikes and stuff like that, and I'll turn them into kind of like little cool tidbit episodes, like little mini episodes, and I release them on Sundays.
Okay. Now, do you have a website?
Don't have a website. No, we got Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay, and they're all called the same thing?
Yep, Shadow of Red Eye is our Instagram. Facebook is In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, and our YouTube is actually Sussex County Bigfoot, or you could just search In the Shadow of Big Red Eye.
Sussex County, because I'm going to put all the links in the description.
Cool,
This
appreciate
interview. That. I try to make it easy for the audience to just click and go straight to it.
Yeah, it's great.
I feel like me, I'll listen to it and I won't have a pen.
Yeah.
I'll forget.
Yeah, I can't. Or you're driving and it's just you forget what it was. Now you can just go back and easily click it. Absolutely.
But man, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Hey, it was a little hassle trying to get us together, but we got it, and everything was worked out just for the best. I had a really good time. Thank you very much for having me. I really truly appreciate it.
Well, please keep me up to date. What's going on, man?
Hey, if I find one, you will be the first to know.
Sweet. I want the exclusive interview for that one.
Okay, I'll give you the first exclusive interview. Not the not the
Not the
only
one and only,
exclusive,
but I want the
but
first one.
the first exclusive. Yes.
Definitely. Well, keep in touch, man, because I'd really love to know how y'all are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it, and you do the same.
I can definitely do that. But I want to thank everyone out there. If you are new to the channel, I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you will subscribe, and please come back. For those of you who are regular to the channel, again, your support means everything in the world to me. I'm able to do this. I'm able to get people like Mike on. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
Po boy.